Why, welcome to another episode of Professor Winter's Library of Horrors. I, of course, am your host, Professor Alistair Winters, and this, my Library of Horrors, where once a week I go deep down to the cinematic archive and bring you back something for your terror and delight. I was just getting my undying rest just now, for I feel I will need all of my wits about me as we ponder this night in a double dose of cinematic terror, the most iconic and fearful vampire of them all. Yes, my children of the night, for it is this night that we celebrate Count Dracula. To the viewing room. Bram Stoker did not invent vampire mythology in the pages of his 1819 Gothic horror novel Dracula. Those stories exist in nearly every culture for centuries. Nor did Stoker even create the modern vampire story, for stories like The Vampire and Carmilla precede Dracula by years. Rather, in his pages, Stoker created a character that would personify the concept of the vampire and haunt every version of the character for years to come. Count Dracula is mysterious and seductive, yet every bit bloodthirsty and brutal. For the research for the novel, Bram Stoker drew on existing vampire lore, as well as the character of Vlad the Impaler, Dracula, an actual Wallachian 15th century ruler, as well as Sir Henry Irving, a theater manager and actor that Bram Stoker was an assistant to. Apparently, Sir Henry Irving was every bit as manipulative and conniving as he was charismatic. Count Dracula has been portrayed more times in almost a century of filmmaking than any other horror character. He has been portrayed by such iconic actors as Max Schreck, Gary Oldman, and John Carradine. But tonight, we are going to focus on two actors who have brought more to the iconic weight of the Count than any other: Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee. In the late 1920s, a Broadway production of Dracula is looking for its titular character. American actors are refusing the role for who would want to play part man and a part monster who lives off the blood of women. A young Hungarian immigrant actor known as Bela Lugosi decides to take the role, but only on the condition with the theater company that he can do with it what he wishes. Bela brings to the character a distant, aristocratic sense of superiority and mystique. The reviews are rave, and although he is not the first choice for the role, Bela goes on to play the Count in Universal's 1931 Todd Browning production of Dracula, the first motion picture to feature sound from Universal. Although his performance of the Count was iconic, and he would go on to play many other roles in Universal Studios' monster catalog, Lugosi would only play Dracula one other time in his career, in 1948, for Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Christopher Lee would play Dracula a total of 10 times in his storied career. The first being for Hammer Productions' 1958's The Horror of Dracula, directed by Terence Fisher, with Peter Cushing co-starring as Dr. Von Helsing. Hammer Studios was a British film company specializing in Gothic horror. From the 50s through the 70s, Hammer Studios would bring Universal's monster catalog to a new generation with an intensified sense of violence and sexuality, all with all the brilliance Technicolor could present. Christopher Lee's Dracula lacks the suaveness and reserved sense of decorum of Lugosi's Dracula, but one cannot deny the terror that is derived from the physicality and carnality of Lee's performance. So tonight, dear friends, enjoy a death-defying double dose of Dracula as the Fright-Filled Film Fest presents this double feature of 1931 Universal Studios' Todd Browning's Dracula and Hammer Productions' 1958 The Horror of Dracula, directed by Terence Fisher. Will you choose Lugosi or Lee? Whichever version of the Count haunts your dreams tonight, my dear friends, just know the Count is waiting.